immediately lower the rotor resistance when we are using the Morse key. And by that we can hold the motor speed constant. Now we're ready, and we are going to the relay corridor. And Anders will have to put on some protection gloves, because here we have 440 volt on open contacts. He will start 2 circulation pumps in the liquid resistors by putting wooden pieces in the start relays. Now you can hear the water flushing in the resistors. Yeah, Anders is back on the control panel, and he will start the alarm bell again, and we have a persistence alarm because we are having no oil pressure to the alternator bearings. Yeah. By that we are prepared to start up the main motor. So Anders will go to the emergency switch again, and I will go down and start up the main motor. Now you can see that the motor is slowly starting up. There are great masses to be handled. Only the rotor in the high-frequency generator weighs 1,500 kilograms. We are just now, we have about 1,200 volt to the motor and about 200 amps. So it's a lot of power. We are waiting for the motor to rev up, and then the internal oil pump can handle the oil pressure, and then we get an alarm, and Anders will turn off the auxiliary oil pump. Yep. Yeah. We are now waiting for the amperage to go down. Our target amperage is 75 amps. And we follow that on an ammeter on the panel. The initial power to the main motor is limited by 4 choke coils in the power supply. That will lower the initial voltage to 1,200 volt. And we are going close to 75 amps, and there Anders will start up 2 rectifiers. One will get 125 to 150 volt DC, and the other one is given 500 volt DC. The 500 volt DC are used to saturate the transductor or the choke coils, so they will increase the voltage from 1200 to 2300 volts to get even more power on the motor. I think it's time to close the rectifiers. And then Anders will go over to the other side of the panel, and he will close a nice switch with 500 voltage C. And then he saturates the transductors, so they will give full voltage 2300 volt to the main motor, and you can hear it revving up. At 700 revolutions per minute on the main motor, he will close the next night switch with 250 volt DC, and by that he is magnetizing the high frequency generator, and it starts to generate a carry wave. And by that he is also starting up an automatic speed control system that feeds back and start up to control the motor speed. We soon can see on the gauges that they are reacting on the speed control system. Anders will use the both control devices there to tune the resistors, so we get to the right frequency. We can on the instrument on top of the panel you can see the frequency. Just now it is 7,186. We are getting near 17,000. That is the frequency we are transmitting. Anders is also monitoring the motor power. Just now, motor voltage. Just now we had 2,100, and now he's getting close to 1,900, and between 1,900 and 2,000, it is the best voltage to control the motor speed. You hear that very much is about controlling the motor speed, because the frequency is directly related to the motor speed. I think just now we have 17.2 kilohertz on the transmitter, and I think Anders, we are satisfied, and we leave it there, and Anders will go down and start a cooling fan. The cooling fan is used to blow out sparks and cool the contactors in the relay corridor. There are large contactors, and they are a part of the speed control system. If there are no cooling, the contactors should be damaged. we still are satisfied. And Anders will connect the transmitter to the antenna modulator. And by that we are connecting we are connected to the antenna. Now he's controlling that the transmitter is that the transmitters can be key. And he also is tuning the transmitter to the antenna by a variable tuning coil, a variometer. So we get maximum power out of the antenna. It is rather complicated. Yeah. Leave it there and let it stabilize for a moment. Okay. Okay. He's turning the key switches to the operator's table and start paper tape reader. And the paper tape reader, it converts the characters on the punch type to Morse code. And it will be www de sac. And www means hello, hello, and de is French and it's here, and SAQ is our call sign. Okay. Well, okay. We leave the www the sac loop running, and then the radio enthusiasts out into the world can tune in on their receivers. And I think it's time to take a short walk outside and have a look at the antenna. Oh, it's a beautiful afternoon here in Grimeton. The sun is setting and it's 4 to 5 degrees centigrade. In front of me we have a cooling fountain, and behind here we have the antenna towers, 127 meter high, one of the tallest construction in Sweden when it was built. Over there we have the beautiful building, a radio station built in neoclassical style by Carl Åkerblad, the Swedish architect, who has also designed other well-known Swedish buildings from this period and on. And then we can follow the antenna wires up to the first tower and then away to the other 5 towers. The 6 towers together X that as one antenna, 2,200 meter long. From each tower there is a vertical radiant that is producing the radio wave, and the tower was designed by a structural engineer, Henrik Krüger, and the antenna was developed by Ernst Alexandersson, who also invented the Alexandersson alternator. The top net distributes the power going out from the alternator, but it also acts together with the ground net as a capacitor. It was extremely efficient, about 13% compared with, for example, Marconi's antennas that had 3% efficiency. We are transmitting with about 80 kilowatt with the alternator, and from that about 88 kilowatt goes out into the air. Introduce our representative Per Berglund from the World Heritage Grimeton, who will say a few words.
Thank you. My name is Per Berglund, and I have indeed the honor of representing the Grimeton World Heritage Site Foundation. We are very happy that you are joining us today in our celebration of the International World Radio Day. Proclaimed by the member states of UNESCO in 2011, the main goals of this day is to raise awareness of the importance of radio in general, along with furthering support for it as a medium. This year's theme is Radio and Peace, and it aims to highlight the role of independent radio in conflict prevention and peace building, be it as a channel for professional and independent journalism, as an arena of dialogue and discussion, or as a reliable source of information in hard-to-reach places. Independent radio offers many ways of moderating conflict and easing tensions. Not only that, it can also contribute to avoid escalation in the first place. However, as with any medium, it can be misappropriated, and therefore increased support for independent radio is vital. Only then can it fulfill its potential as a mediator and bridge between people. An article from December 1920 about Alexandersson's high-power transmitting system had the following to say regarding the then relatively new radio medium. It is thus not an exaggeration to say that the emancipation of the human spirit that was begun by the invention of the printing press has found its fulfillment in radio communication. Radio makes the transmission of ideas from man to man and from nation to nation, independent of not only of any frail material carrier such as a wire, but above all it renders such communications independent of brute force that might be used to isolate one part of the world from another. The quote goes to show that even a century ago, the belief that radio as a way of bridging divides was already present, and despite predating the formation of UNESCO, it certainly conveys the sentiment of building peace in the minds of men and women. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Per, for these words. We are now waiting. We have about 2 minutes left and the car is preparing. Då...
Ja, men då är det kamera på dig.
Okej, då... Thank you, Kai. Impressive. And that was the message from us here at the Grimeton today. An important message today that reaches the whole world in all directions. You can read the message on the screen now, I think. The message was it was done by the Varberg Calling for Peace Network together with the World Heritage Grimeton radio station and the Alexander Grimeton Friendship Association. We hope that you all out there have been able to receive the SAQ well, and that you enjoyed listening to the SAQ. We want your listeners' report, and if you didn't hear anything, report anyhow. The listeners' report are very important for us. So please send us your listeners' report, and we will send you electronic QSL from us. If there is any problem, go in on our website, alexander.n.se, and where you can find all the information you need to send us a report. By that, it's time to stop the fantastic transmitter. And I will ask Anders to switch off the two nice switches with 500 and 250 volt DC. And he's also and I will switch off the main motor. And Anders switched off the two rectifiers, and he will now decrease the level in the start and compensation resistor to the start position. You can hear that the motor is revving down, and now we are waiting that the internal oil pump can no longer handle the lubrication, and then we get an alarm again, and we will turn on the auxiliary oil pump again. It takes about 9 minutes for the alternator to complete start after we have turned off the motor power. The alarm and the auxiliary oil pump is on, and then Anders will turn off the cooling fan, also it is not needed anymore. finished our mission today to start up the old transmitter and send a peace message to the world. But before ending, I must tell you that the association, Alexanderson Friendship Association, today have about 750 members. But of course, we want you all as members. So just go in on our website, alexander.n.se, and join us. It is very important for us. It helps us to keep this amazing transmitter up and going. By that, it is time for us to say thank you to all that has been watching us, seeing our video, and to all you that have been listening to us out there. And by that, from us in Grimeton, thank you very much for listening and watching. We hope that you enjoyed it. We did. Bye-bye.